Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a sombre start to today's show, as we're here today to pay our respects to the late great John Matthews. John died in a terrible way after people didn't share the link to Alfsplaining on the social medias enough, and thus breaking his tiny heart.
It's true, listeners, I am indeed dead. Dead serious about you sharing the Alfsplaining links on social media. That's Alfsplaining and all of them, plus Alfsplaining Extra on the Patreon, where you get extra content for a tiny amount of money that helps us live.
It's true. Oh, that's very good. We don't plan these introductions, and it worked a treat.
Ah, hooray.
He's back with us, and the reason why I do all that nonsense is because this episode, which first aired in America on the 20th of March 1989, is called Funeral for a Friend, which is named after the Elton John song, not the post-hardcore band from Wales.
Did they name themselves after this episode, though?
I assume so, yes. I assume so. Good. I quite like the first album. I lost track after that. But we're not here to talk about the early 2000s rock scene.
Aren't we? I've done the wrong research then.
Because I'll probably get more out of me on it. No, we're here to talk about the 80s sitcom Alf, of course. We'll be going episode by episode through it. I am, of course, your living and kicking Ben Baker.
And I am still dead, John Matthews. Thank you.
Oh, that didn't last long, did it?
No flowers, please.
No flowers, but I am going to get a floral tribute which has your catchphrase on it, no refunds.
Beautiful. Lovely.
You know what? I'm not wishing you were dead, but I'm just saying I will enjoy it when you are.
You are, though.
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah, I know. It'll be a national holiday. Certainly for you.
It will. I'm going to say they'll put a star down, but they'll probably puts just like a rhomboid down because of your because a star cannot capture your many talents.
Do you think I'll get a mention in the news?
Oh yeah.
Hamster man dies.
Yeah. Cliff's deadly rival dies. Cliff, aged 149, says, "I don't know nothing." But he has that look on his face, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
He'll outlive us all, will Cliff?
He will. And maybe he'll start his own Alf-based podcast to just really rub it in. Don't know. I don't. But that's it. We're not going to talk about Cliff anymore. This is a Cliff-free zone. As we are talking about the episode Funeral for a Friend, at least that's what it's called. In America, what do the Germans call it, John?
In German, it's called Der Herr der Ameisen. Ameisen.
Are you? I don't know. Good.
It's actually an excellent German title. It's Lord of the Ants, which it's kind of catchy, that isn't it? It's almost like an English pun. But the German plot translated reads: Life isn't a picnic. When Willie buys Alf an ant farm, he and the Tanners are confronted with life, death, and lots of tiny pets.
Oh, that is more teasery than their plot synopsises normally are.
Synopsises?
Yes, again, always easy for me to say.
Gesundheit.
The ratings for this one, 18 million, which put it 12th for the week between Anything But Love, which I looked up, and it was apparently a sitcom featuring Jamie Lee Curtis and Richard Lewis, which I've never seen it at all. And the news programme 60 Minutes, although particularly of note for my rating spotting eye, which is of course this one, I'm pointing at it right now.
Good, we can all see it.
Is 36.
Yeah.
The Bob Hope Easter Special, a.k.a. Bob Hope's Easter Vacation in the Bahamas.
Join Bob, Easter Bunny, Hope, and friends for fun in the sun in paradise.
There's three kinds of tours here: pink, tan, and well done.
Bob Hope's Easter Vacation in the Bahamas, Saturday.
Sadly, Alf wasn't on it, which is a shame, because LaToya Jackson and Andy Williams were on it, so it would have been in good company. But
fine. Good.
Yeah, there you go. The writer of this episode was Scott Spencer Gordon. His last of 4 scripts after the Gilligan one, the Dog one, and the Magic one. So
Okay.
there you go. And the director, not entirely sure who this is. Paul Fuscois?
Has he done anything else?
Apparently, he was the creator of puppeteer on Space Cats.
Oh, I like that.
On NBC. Jokes and humour there, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Fusco, the creator of Alf, voice of Alf, is the director of this one. I can't remember if he's been down as a director before, but this, I think, is the only one this series.
That's a good point. I kind of assumed he had, but...
It must be quite hard to direct when you can't see half of the scene,
yeah.
effectively.
This is Paul's second directorial Alf episode after Weird Science in season 1.
Okay.
He goes on to do 4 more in season 4.
So I do wonder in these situations if he was meant to direct it and or someone dropped out or something. Maybe we should abuse our friendship with him once more to find out, but we haven't done that.
I should have asked, but I didn't realise it was one of his before we started watching it, and it was a bit late by then.
Alien Ant Farm, it would be called now, I think, because it's about an alien
Good, yeah.
who acquires an ant farm. It's... Funeral of a Friend, Alien Ant Farm. Let's see which other early 2000s rock acts we could mention throughout. We fade in on Alf, quietly reading for like the second or third time this season, which makes you wonder, like, what happened, man? You've changed. He is looking through a book of animals because he wants a pet. And Willie says, we already have a cat. And Alf says, he says exactly what you think he will, which is, of course, Slurp Slew, get it scranned, quick, our kid, in here. Sorry, no, he doesn't. He says, you told me never to play with my food. Don't know why he's become a Dracula.
We haven't really seen Lucky at all this season, or much of last season either, so I'm assuming he has indeed eaten the cat and is constantly trying to cover up his crime.
I mean, you think they notice, but then again, there are so many things they don't notice. So, Alf wants a pet. Apparently because it's the ultimate in power trips. And Brian, who we always like to point out when he gets a decent line, points out it bugs him because I'm taller than he is now. So again, it's like it's sort of revealing the relationship, isn't it?
I like this. I like this scene. It was nice to see Alf and Brian sort of just hanging out in a casual, relaxed, carefree manner, just flipping through a pet brochure or whatever it was, and just being pals. It was nice to see them for a change.
Yeah, it was, because as I said, Brian has kind of taken a backseat to Jake this series, and he's not in this episode, so Brian's getting more to do. And Alf wants this pet, and he's leaning towards your basic barnyard horse and says, an 89 Mustang, which, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I got it's a car joke. I got it. Look impressed. I got it. It's a car joke.
Excellent.
An 89 Mustang, it's a car, isn't it?
I believe it is.
I don't know why it works in this scene, because again, he's looking at animals, not cars.
Yeah.
But he's fine. And I love Willie sort of flounces out of this scene, putting his foot down in his usual ineffective manner. He says, we won't be getting a horse or any other type of barnyard type animal for that matter. Thank you.
And you kind of feel that when they smash cut after the titles, Alf will be there with an entire stable in the sitting room or something like that. Something like that is going to happen.
Yeah. In fact, weirdly, to illustrate the change of scene, we get the jauntiest post-credit sting I've ever heard on this series.
Play it in. It's proper clippity-clop.
Yeah, yeehaw. Whoa, boy, whoa. I'm not gonna fight unless you take off that funny hat with the buckle on it, Pilgrim.
Oh, not again.
Got me a horse, or you're dead where you stand.
If you could dismount for a moment, there's something I'd like to show you.
All right. This saddle's giving me splinters anyway. Whoa, boy, whoa.
I mean, Clippity Clop is a good thing because we have the magnificent sight of Alf dressed. How is he dressed, John?
Well, he's dressed in his Bruce Springsteen outfit, doing a John Wayne impression, riding a hobby horse around the sitting room. Of course he is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wrote he's a cowpoke, which apparently means a cut-off jean jacket and a red neckerchief, which sadly at no point does he pull over his snoot, which I thought would have been a good visual gag. And it's basically more Midnight Cowboy than the urban one, by which I mean I'm implying he looks like a male prostitute.
It's an interesting outfit to pick for a cowboy, but you know, it's only a short, brief period. It does make him look different for a change.
Yeah, absolutely. And Willie, who, being a generally good man with nice ideas for Alf to torpedo, has come home with a gift. And that is the ant farm we've heard about at the start. And this is something which patently confuses Alf, who thinks there still might be a horse in the tiny brown bag which Willie's got. And he wants to call the horse after Willie.
Yes. White Beauty.
I think I might have seen that film.
I've seen that internet forum anyway.
Well, yeah. It's a nice line, but Alf is very confused by the ant farm. And I must admit, I'm not sure I've seen an ant farm in real life. Have you?
No, I haven't, but I immediately knew what it was. And I didn't even think to look one up, but I've got one in front of me now. Well, not a real one, I've got a picture of one. The actual one.
Oh, I was hoping you'd gone method and splashed out on some ants.
The actual one in the show with the sort of slightly poorly moulded, flimsy plastic surround.
That does look cheap.
It's Uncle Milton's fascinating ant farm, ages 6 and up. Genuine ant farm branded product. And there's an ant farm with a top hat on to illustrate that. It says, "You take the farm, we mail the ants." So what happened? I believe you were sent sort of frozen ants in the mail, which you thawed out, dropped into your ant farm, and then the chaos began, I suppose.
Right, fair enough.
Well, it says, "See the live ants, dig tunnels, build bridges, move mountains, fun for the whole family. Connectable, break resistant, and escape proof."
All right. I mean, obviously, that doesn't prove to be as useful as we'll see later on in the episode. But we're now up in the rejigged attic set, which now appears to have some shelving and a series of Victorian etchings, which, again, I'm sure there'll be a screen grab, but just a very strange set of drawings that are stuck up on the wall now, which I've never seen before.
Like when we saw Jake's bedroom a few episodes ago, there's lots of things to note down and observe. But with this, it's just weirdness, and there's nothing really specific. But we'll do a few screen grabs, see if we can spot anything else.
Yeah. Alf is at a previously unseen table, trying to get his head around the whole ant farm concept, where Lynn and Brian walk in together, as apparently all characters in this series do now. Always in twos. And Alf says, "Well, if it isn't the Tanner kids, what brings you two to this neck of the attic?" Which, it does feel a little bit like the sawing a button on the simplicity of this plot, which, if you haven't twigged yet, is a bottle episode, and also another, "Oh Christ, Anne Shadeen is still pregnant, what the hell can we do this week?" kind of setup.
The other subtext running through this episode that we've perhaps noted before in the past is that Alf is clearly autistic. He has special interests and obsessions.
Yeah, well, this is very much an obsession of the week episode for Alf, and he can't quite get his head round it, and says that ant farming has a tendency to be uneventful, sort of like working security at a Pat Boone concert.
Which is my impenetrable pop culture reference of the week. Pat Boone. I think we all know. We all know who Pat Boone was. At least if we don't, we know the name and we can have a vague idea.
Yeah, I know the name.
Songwriter, actor, author, television personality, radio host, and philanthropist, as well as being a singer. One of the best-selling American recording artists of the 1950s and 60s. He has sold nearly 50 million records. Right. Now, that is largely because he seems to have released about 50 million albums. But he does seem to have become almost unfathomably popular over the years.
Wasn't he basically like the pop equivalent of taking exciting Vindaloos or something like that and turning it into the most watered down chicken korma or something like that? He took a lot of rock and roll songs, didn't he, that were by urban artists, and they went, "No, let's do this for nice, middle class Caucasian people." And
I mean, in the same way that throughout pop history, pop acts have always watered down things that are interesting for mass appeal. Yeah. His hits include "Ain't That a Shame," "Love Letters in the Sand," Moody River, etc. and so on. He had a number one in the UK with I'll Be Home in 1956. Yeah. The section on religion on his Wikipedia page is fascinating and just goes to prove that Americans are an alien culture, really, to everybody else. Boone grew up in the Church of Christ. In the 1960s, Boone's marriage to Shirley Foley nearly came to an end because of his use of alcohol and his predilection to attend parties. However, after coming into contact with the charismatic movement, Shirley focused on her religion and eventually influenced Pat and their daughters to have a similar religious focus. At the time, they attended the Inglewood Church of Christ in Inglewood, California. In the 1970s, Boone's hosted Bible studies for Doris Day, Glenn Ford, Jar Jar Gabor, and Priscilla Presley.
The way you said that implies that it wasn't a requested thing. They just turned up with a load of tomes and said, have you ever considered our Lord, whatever it is we're celebrating this week? Because he's still alive, isn't he?
He's about 91. He's 91. He'll be 92 in June.
So I guess he was really young when he was actually very, very at his peak, should we say.
Well, at the age of 23, he began hosting the half-hour ABC variety series, the rather unusually titled Pat Boone Chevy Showroom. Guests included Johnny Mathis, Andy Williams and Cliff Richard, of all people.
Oh, bloody hell. Welcome to Cliff's Blading, ladies and gentlemen.
His sidekick was a Chevrolet Bel Air and the band leader was an Impala.
It's a Chevrolet Bel Air. I'm going to say there's no need to describe Cliff like that just because he beat you in the charts once. But no, he probably is fair.
Anyway, that's far too much about Pat Boone, and I hope that when this comes out, listeners, Ben has edited that down to the bare minimum.
Oh, he's dead. Either or.
Yeah,
either or.
Either or.
We just don't know. Speaking of dead, Brian mentions that he used to have a turtle, which, if you remember, Alf actually dug up in the Gilligan's Island episode.
Yeah.
Assuming it was the same turtle. I mean, there could just be a graveyard out there for all of Brian's victims. He didn't kill them. He didn't.
No, he didn't kill them. He didn't kill them.
So they noticed some ant wrestling happening, and I assume you did too, that this was going to be a very different sort of joke.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they're wrestling. But no, apparently the ants are really, really wrestling. And one's got another one in a 12 Nelson, which is a good joke.
Yeah, I enjoyed how much they absolutely loved it, Alf and Brian. As soon as the ants started wrestling, they were really, really into it.
Yeah, it does feel like Brian's getting more to do here, and it's not because they've worked out more to do with him. It's just they need him to fill gaps, I think, a bit more.
Before we move on from this scene, there was one line that Lynn got, which she deserves her wages for the entire year for delivering the line, "Have you read this question and answer section of your Ant Watcher's manual?" It's an incredibly complicated line, and
yeah,
she delivers it extremely well.
She's very much the glue in a lot of these, and we have had so many of these episodes that are just kind of feel thrown together a little bit because of various things, and she is always there. Her and Max Wright are brilliant.
I've emailed Andrea Elson to find out if she'll come on the show. I've had no responses yet, but maybe I should say, we think you are glue.
Only if we're rubber. I think that's how it works. Is that I can't remember from Monkey Island.
I don't really know.
But hey, there's a surprise because I was not expecting Kate to be here.
Oh no,
but she is in the next scene.
Yeah,
and she's kind of in a very odd pose when we first see her, which is knees up on a chair, covering her stomach with a giant cover-free hardback. And I was trying to work out if this was a post-birth episode, and maybe they were disguising it a bit.
Yeah.
So I looked up when her daughter Taylor was born.
Right.
And it was apparently January 24th, which is 2 months before this episode went out. So it kind of feels about right.
Yeah.
So because I'm a boring man, I looked at the production code, which that gives you an idea of how far through it was. And it's 3026. And the final episode where Kate actually gives birth is 3019.
Okay.
So if I got the impression that maybe she's just in a fat suit now, because she doesn't seem as pregnant. She seems, I have a feeling that they've given her those time off, and then they've filmed a bunch of little, parts basically.
That is a good point.
Drop in.
I noticed this in the next scene. She didn't seem as pregnant, and I didn't really think about it, to be honest. Not this next scene, but when they walk through into the kitchen.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's a lot easier to sort of schedule the episodes if you can fake a pregnancy rather than having to shoot around a pregnancy. So yeah, keeping the pregnancy going fakely seems a good idea from a production standpoint to keep continuity.
And there's 2 missing episodes, actually, because I was like, where are 3024 and 3025? And I've looked, and apparently they're part of the season 4 lineup.
Okay.
So we'll have to check then to see if there's any noticeable jumps continuity-wise.
How interesting.
Well, it is to us. But that's why we do this.
We are documenting the world of Alf for future generations.
Anyway, Alf wants to know, pops up at his portal, to ask if it's brown or white rice for a wedding. And Willie has a good line. He says, brown, as white is so gauche.
I almost made that the top
Which
Willie.
made me laugh. It did make me laugh.
There's quite a few little top Willie moments in the rest of the episode, so that's possibly one of them.
Yeah. And as such, this is immediately followed by a giant handful of rice being flung through the portal into the living room at Willie. And it makes no sense, really, but again, I laughed, and that is all that matters, really.
Yeah, I loved it.
And so when they go in to see what he's doing, it turns out Alf has got quite involved with his aunts, and he's been coming up with lots of fanciful stories about their lives, including this wedding, hence the rice. And we get this fun exchange.
You seem to have changed your mind about ants, Alf.
I couldn't help it, Kate. They've made me a part of their lives. We've broken bread together. Well, actually, I broke it. They just carried it around on their heads.
Be honest now, Alf. Aren't you glad I got you that ant farm instead of some silly old horse?
Let's be realistic, Willie. A horse is a horse.
Of course.
Of course. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got to pick up some rotting fruit. I'm catering this affair. But he's got high hopes. He's got high
Mr. Ed, of course.
Of course.
It's great, isn't it? And again, not an obscure pop culture reference, as Mr. Ed seems to be on like well into the late 90s in the UK. Next scene, and Willie pops up to the attic in a fine baby shit jacket. So consider that my Willie's wardrobe for this week.
Yeah,
looking for Alf, who isn't in. and where is it? And he's like, oh, he's not in. Oh, Alf's gone out, has he?
To play.
He's like, no. And there's a fine prop which Lynn has bought as a present for Alf. Alan Thicke's World of Ants calendar.
Lovely stuff. They've made it as well. They've made the prop as well.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's a funny view thing. Like, it doesn't look like a real thing, but it looks like a comedy prop, and that's why I liked it. And that's why he was perhaps my most impenetrable pop culture reference of the week.
Hooray!
Now, Alan Thicke was a dad on the sitcom Growing Pains, which is another rival network show, this time on ABC. Of course, Alf is on NBC.
Yeah.
I think he's probably been used here as... He was a host of a family game show called Animal Crack-Ups, which basically seems to be a question of sport, but with like baboons in it or something.
Hey, that's no way to talk about Bill Beaumont.
It's exactly the correct way to talk about Bill Beaumont.
More fun than a barrel of monkeys.
Yeah.
More laughs than anyone can bear. Today, Alan Thicke hosts Animal Crack-Ups.
It's the best.
Although I'm more personally fascinated, like he had a short-lived talk/comedy show, so the 83-84 called Thick of the Night. Because it's E on the end of Thick, you see, that's his name. And Gilbert Gottfried was a regular, and he always used to refer to it on his podcast, so I'm always amused by that. And, of course, one of his sons is a prick.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's one. And Willie's got a gift as well, hasn't he? It's not just the calendar.
No, Willie's brought some farmyard toys. It is officially the Tootsie Town Farmland Action Set.
Oh.
You got a pickup truck, a tractor, a horse, 2 cows, and some fencing, basically.
That's a lovely thing. A lovely thing to do, isn't it?
Nice, yeah. On Alf's desk, there are his sand refills, a liquid feeder, and a plastic ant model. And there's the picture of Alf at the ant wedding that Willie took in the previous scene. Alf posed with his ant farm. Willie, take a picture of me at the wedding. And the picture is actually there on the desk, and it's brilliant. It's really cute and a great throwback, and I love it because Alf looks so happy in this picture.
I didn't notice that at all. I don't know why I didn't.
The problem with this picture is, how did it get there? Who developed that picture?
How long has it been? Again, time is a bizarre miasma.
It could be, that doesn't matter. It could be anything, but Willie does not have the developing facilities in the house to develop a picture of their pet alien.
I think he might. If anyone does, it's Willie, isn't it?
I think it would have been referenced. The point is, in absence of any better information, we feel that the family are taking pictures of their alien and taking them down to Snappy Snaps to get them developed.
Yeah.
And that seems, at the very least, foolish.
It does rather. It would undermine a lot of the work that they're putting. All very good points. I genuinely, I was so focused on the giant ant model that's also on the desk that Willie gets his hands stuck to, that I'd completely missed that. So
it's a lovely picture. It's Alf just looks so happy. It's blurry, but Alf looks so happy in the little tiny picture.
So yeah, as I say, Lynn has found out that the ants have been left in the sun and therefore have burnt to death. Classic ants.
Oh dear.
And then, of course, Alf appears in a shower cap holding a tiny boat. It's clever shorthand. You won't have noticed this. It's clever writing shorthand. He's been having a bath.
It was good.
Or sat in a puddle or something. I don't know, but he's been somewhere else.
Was he still singing High Hopes at that point? Because he'd wandered out from the kitchen.
He was.
So he's been singing High Hopes for a couple of days now.
Well, we assume, again, we don't know what the time basis on this is.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Willie breaks the news to Alf in a caring manner, but also makes a great dark joke.
The joke is what I put this week's top Willie, so I think you should play it in because it seems like an Alf joke that because Alf is the victim here, it's got ported over to Willie. So paste it in.
They look dead.
They are dead.
You sure they're not suntanning?
I'm sorry, Alf.
Oh, my poor little Goombas. An hour ago, they were working the farm.
And now they've bought it.
So Willie returns after the break with a sandwich, but Alf is too depressed to eat. And Willie at this point goes, I'm trained in this area, because he's a social worker. And Alf decides to get angry, first at himself, and then at Willie for buying him the farm, and then CBS for cancelling Frank's Place. Which, again, I had to go down a rabbit hole. A sitcom which had run the previous season about a professor who inherits a New Orleans restaurant that I've never seen, but was apparently ranked number 3 in TV Guide's cancelled too soon list.
Oh, okay.
And it was created by Hugh Wilson, who did QPR in Cincinnati.
Gesundheit.
And the first Police Academy film when it was still mucky.
Frank's Place. It's a comedy, but you cry. It's a drama, but you laugh. But one thing it isn't, it's not what you expect.
Good.
Frank's Place, Monday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
And look, apparently it did air briefly against Alf before moving to later time slots. And it doesn't feel like, we wish it was there because we were winning against it. It does feel like they're genuinely like, we're annoyed about this. Yeah. It was a good show.
Yeah. Yes, I couldn't work out what the joke was other than he was genuinely annoyed by a good show had been cancelled. It wasn't like they were, sticking the boot in.
So yeah, Alf is full of all the emotions and he's not really listening to Willie. And the next scene starts with possibly one of the most extraordinary sights we've ever experienced yet.
What did you actually write down for this sight that we beheld?
But Willie, laid in bed in his blue pyjamas, is giggling and shuffling.
I wrote Willie smirking as Kate rummages around his balls.
Because he's saying, okay, cut it out.
I then wrote, this doesn't seem appropriate for a family sitcom. And I threw the television out the window and I sent Paul Fusco the bill.
I wrote, this isn't actually an act of oral enjoyment, but some tickling. And of course, it is not Kate doing the tickling.
Nah.
It's ants everywhere.
Of course it
in
is.
the bed. And I like the fact that Kate goes, there are ants everywhere. And Willie goes, yes, I can see that, dear. It's like he's such a passive-aggressive line. And so they both race out of bed to get some spray, only to learn that in the kitchen, Alf has left plates out with food on, with a sign reading, eat at Alf's.
Free food and welcome ants. I love that.
Oh, yeah, because Alf decided to dedicate his life to the care and preservation of the ant species. And Willie surmises that actually Alf might need to grieve the ants properly with a funeral.
The Kate's face when Willie suggests having a funeral for the ants is absolutely brilliant. Her rage. She goes, let me at him. She's Willie has to hold her back from killing Alf. It's glorious.
But a funeral is what we're getting, and that's in the next scene as a suited Willie and Alf, both dressed in black, speak in hushed tones outside in the garden.
They are. I like the hushed tones. And Alf looks good in a black shirt.
He does, as I don't.
He would have been a good Nazi.
I don't think I've seen him in black before. Not properly, anyway. And there's a good visual gag as Willie places a wreath by the tombstones, a.k.a. about 30 or so ice lolly sticks.
We get these brilliant visual gags at the reveal. You know, when Alf says, put the wreath over there, we knew something good was coming, but then the reveal of this tombstone bed in the garden. Brilliant. Just great.
It will of course be on the social media. Lots of pictures from this.
I mean, at this point, we're in the garden having the funeral viewers, as you've seen, because you've all watched the episode in advance. But I'm, as we all are, on tenterhooks waiting for Trevor to arrive.
Well, yeah, because they were out in the garden doing something ridiculous not that long ago, and Trevor did turn up. So, but no spoilers. There is no Trevor, and as such, as the family gather in their finest outfits, Alf prepares the sermon.
We gather here today to pay homage to a colony of mirth makers, known affectionately as my aunts. In 5 short days, these wiry sexpeds tunneled a pathway into our hearts. Now, they rest beside me, symmetrically placed, victims of an unkind midday sun.
Now, I don't know if, like me, you Googled the word sexpeds, but I am strongly wishing I did not. Not a thing. Or at least the way it's said, it's not a thing.
Right.
Yeah, don't Google sexpeds.
It sounded real and sort of scientific.
Yeah, but also scientific, and many of the acts I saw described in the several links before I closed Google quickly. Willie gives a top Willie sort of speech here, and it's very much that lovely thinking on his feet business that that makes the character so good, and they've just led into more and more as they've gone. And the others give a small tribute to, ending with Brian, who talks about his favourite aunt, the long one with the big head, who is called
Spunky.
Filth.
I like that. No, it was the whole scene. The family, each member of the family was obliged to give a eulogy at the aunt funeral.
Yeah,
what a sentence. And then Kate begrudgingly goes, "Of all the aunts I've ever known, they were the most contained."
Did you note the other aunt names mentioned?
There was Sybil, Jerry, who worked in the graveyard, Chad, Tyler, Zach, Logan, and Jenna. There was also Abner, Alan, Alicia, and then the names continued as the scene faded from view.
Amy, Aunt B, who was a reference to a character in the Andy Griffith Show.
Okay.
Auntie M, of course, from The Wizard of Oz. Esther, Est, and Eunice are the other names we catch before it fades out. Because he has to rush through this as answer after the buffet, basically.
Yeah.
Even though he says they're mourners. And we only get a little short scene here next, basically to show that Alf has now regained his appetite as he is eating in the most unpleasant fashion. It's the hoying food. Well, it's chicken, that's been covered in ants. And he says that he's got a dull pain inside, but it's not grief, it's Kate's potato salad. Do you remember, John, that everyone Alf knew and loved back home died in a hideous tragedy?
It's glossed over in it occasionally.
Some ants.
There was a joke. There was a joke here that was excellent. He said to Willie, "I didn't even want those last 2 pieces of chicken. It was just the momentum."
And momentum it is deeply, it is grim. Even for this programme. And you would assume that'd be it. But no, there's another tag on the end of it, in which Alf receives a letter from the Morton Downey Show. The over-the-top talk show. I think we discussed it the other week, didn't we?
Cover it.
kind
Did
of...
we cover it recently? It rings a bell.
Yeah. And Al suggested an idea, a programme about civil rights for ants, which, good stuff. But they're not interested in that. But they would like it to come on for a segment, Obsessive Compulsive with too much time on their hands. That's it. That's it.
It was a fun idea. It's like, you look back and think what episode. Oh, there was that one with the ant farm in it. It was quite a sticky episode. It will stick in your brain.
I'm not sure it will. I would think the exact opposite for me. I was just like,
really?
Yeah. Well, again, it's an episode where nothing happens really, and it's basically just like you could do it all if you could stage it on one set without moving, which you could with this, definitely 100%.
Play.
Yeah, like a play. It's good because it means it's more about the writing. There are no guest characters in this. There are no cutaways from outside the house. They're all existing sets.
I feel when we come to our season wrap-up at the end of the year, we usually pick the same, basically, episodes here and there. But we may have a bit of difference of opinion, Jeff, with this one. I
don't think it's bad. I just didn't think it was that good. I thought it was there. Honestly, it did nothing for me. It's just... And I think, again, it's because it comes off a run of not that great episodes. There's been a lot of middling ones in a row.
Well, I concur, but I felt relieved that we weren't watching an episode as tedious as we have done
well, at least it was
recently.
About Alf.
At least, he needed to be in it. Yeah.
Okay, I will fully concede that one.
After the last episode, where over 50% of the episode didn't have Alf in it, then this is yeah.
But I don't know. It's a step in the right direction, certainly. A bit wackier.
I did go and have a look on the IMDb to see if our correspondent Bevo13678 had anything to say about it. He or she can usually delve down to the nitty-gritty. Bevo13678 on IMDb said, "One of my favourite episodes. I like the ant farm bit. 10 out of 10.
And we can't add anything to that, ladies and gentlemen. We could have saved ourselves 38 minutes rather than just reading that out and waving goodbye.
As we sink into the sand.
We've just got the MVP, really. And I put the ants that died so we could sit through this episode.
I put Alf. I thought Alf ran the... Again, I picked Alf a few times this year. We don't normally do that, Just because the show is Alf, it doesn't mean he's necessarily the best in it. But he was brilliant. This he ran the range of emotions. He showed mirth, caring, and he mourned.
He showed gold, frankincense, and myrrh. That's all. That's all we can ask.
He's had a lot of death in his life recently. Ever since he killed Grandad or whatever it was, Uncle Abner.
Yeah. Apparently that don't bother him though as much as some ants. So again,
no.
Priorities. Let us know what your priorities are. Ants, old people, on the social medias, as we said at the start of the show. And do join the Patreon, because there's some fantastic stuff there on Elsplaining Extra. Audio and video alike going through on all sorts of range of stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, what are we looking at this week? Oh, merch.
Yeah.
Merch. We're finally covering that. So, there's all sorts of hilarious sidebar, side-eye, side views from a slightly ribald perspective.
Well, this has been less of a funeral and more a fun Errol. Fun.
Okay.
I'd imagine if you were called Errol, that would have been brilliant. Why can't you be called Errol, John?
Thanks, ants.
Thanks.
I like Spunky, the long one with the big head. He could really dig.